Joining us soon, Sanjay Jha is former Congress leader and political analyst. Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni is former DG of the infantry. Dr. Nalin Mehta is author of the book, The New BJP, and Professor Brahmachalani, strategic affairs expert. Let me start with Sanjay Jha. Sanjay, I mean, look at the optics. On a day when the country is celebrating Parakram Divas, we are honoring the legacy of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and the Indian National Army. You have the Prime Minister renaming 21 islands in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And then when these islands have been named after Paramveer Chakra awardees, many of them giving their life, making the supreme sacrifice for the country, for a Congress leader, a senior Congress leader, multiple-term chief minister in the past, to come out and say, where is the proof of Balakot strikes? I mean, it's tone-deaf, it's frankly, you know, it's unpatriotic, and most importantly, it's politically counterproductive.
I'm not a counsel for Mr. Digvijaya Singh. I will make a around that time. But let me make one categorical statement. I believe in India's entire political history, if there is one party that has actually politicized the military, it's the BJP. And let's make a distinction here. I don't think any political party, any responsible leader has ever made a statement which is critical of the armed forces. For heaven's sake, I think they are the bravest in the country. They are amongst the, I would say, those who actually work with very limited kind of quality of armaments they need to defend our frontiers and to prevent us from terrorism. I think the question here is not about the armed forces at all, which the BJP does, shooting from the, you know, the shoulders of the brave soldiers.
No, but by repeatedly asking for proof, that seems to be the same trope again and again, Sanjay, that by asking for proof, it's not just a political point. You're not just questioning the political executive. You are also questioning the action itself, the military action itself.
No, I just want to make one point, Zakar. Let us just take the example of this surgical strike that happened in 2016, which was led by the very intrepid Lieutenant General D.S. Huda. Mr. Huda was considered to be the principal architect behind the entire surgical strike, and I think the entire country is one on these matters. I don't think there's ever been any dispute on that. I think he also went on to say later on, and this is his words, not the Congress's words, where he said such surgical strikes or cross-border attacks across the line of actual control, the LOC, had happened several times, 6 to 8 times, even in the time of Mr. Vajpayee. So I believe the Modi government's muscular nationalism to try and appropriate everything that the armed forces do to make it a political spin is one of the unfortunate tragedies of our time.
The issue I thought was long settled, not least because, this was the biggest talking point in the 2019 general elections. The people of India voted, and I think it's overwhelmingly clear where they stand on this issue. But I want to ask Sanjay Verma, it's not just what Digvijaya Singh said today. Rahul said basically, and Digvijaya Singh, Rahul Gandhi, they're all saying is no one has used the armed forces for political powers like the Modi government has done, for political purposes like the Modi government has done, whether it was a surgical strike, the Balakot airstrikes, or of course, whatever we are seeing in the run-up to 2024.
Zaka, let me make it very clear that, when I hear Congressies, including the suspended variety like Sanjay Jha, I'm actually amused. I am not, perturbed or agitated anymore, because I think the Congress has a history which is so unflattering when it comes to how it treats our brave hearts. And I'll quickly sum up, though this has been there in the public domain for a while now. Who called the ex-CDS, Bipin Rawat, who is no more, a Sadak ka Gunda? It was senior Congress leader Sandeep Dixit, the son of ex-Chief Minister of Delhi, Sheila Dixit, a long-time Congress veteran, who doubted the veracity of the surgical strike and ridiculed it with comments like Khoon ki dalali. It was the Congress. And let me tell you that Digvijaya Singh today has the audacity to say that there is no proof. I want to read out, a tweet put out by ANI on 29th September 2016, which reads thus. This was at 12:15 p.m. Indian Army has conducted surgical strikes on terror launch pads on the LOC. Significant casualties have been caused to Pakistan. Statement by DGMO. When the DGMO has spoken, when the then defense minister spoke, the home minister spoke, the prime minister spoke, why is it that you need more proof? Who do you want to give proof to you? I want to ask Digvijaya Singh one question. Are you not the same person who, after the Batna House encounter of 2008, along with your leader Sonia Gandhi, you shed copious tears? You did not shed copious tears for Mohan Chand, tears for the perpetrators of the Batla House attack, the Indian Mujahideen.
Okay.
Are you not the same Digvijaya Singh? Just a second, Zaka, who after the horrific 26/11 Mumbai terror attack, what did you say? ये तो RSS की साजिश थी. Had it not been for Tukaram Omle, who actually managed to lay his hands on Ajmal Kasab, who was then tried and put to death here, the RSS Sazish theory may have actually been vindicated, because there are so many people who want to lap up every trash that comes their way when they have to put the BJP or the RSS in the dock for all the wrong reasons.
Okay. So let me expand, please. Let me expand to other guests also. They're all patiently waiting. Lieutenant General Kulkarni, as somebody who's been, lifelong in the armed forces, when you see this kind of political commentary coming in from major opposition parties, it's not just the Congress. We've seen Arvind Kejriwal ask questions or proof, supposedly, for the surgical strikes. We have seen numerous other leaders. I don't want to quote each of them, whether it was Randeep Surjewala, Mr. P. Chidambaram, Kapil Sibal, who used to be in the Congress at that point of time, all asking questions about or proof over the surgical strikes. Does it send out a message, particularly to our adversary countries, Pakistan, China, etc., that look, the polity in this country is divided and we can exploit that division? Whether it was an Imran Khan, whether it was a Xi Jinping, are they looking at these statements and saying that, look, they don't have a national consensus on as important an issue as national security? So we can exploit those divisions within. Does that message go across?
Thanks, Zaka. I think yes. These are all irresponsible. Talks and all kinds of views, and so blatantly being said so, which is highly incorrect, because you understand who are our enemy, China, where everything is controlled. Who is the second enemy, Pakistan, where everything is governed by the army there, and well, Pakistan uses terrorism as an instrument of state policy. Here in a democracy, everybody seems to air their views, which is incorrect, highly irresponsible, definitely counterproductive, and something of which the enemy would take advantage of. Now, let's take all these, whether surgical strike, Balakot subsequently, or what's happened in Pulwama. Now, statements emanating that for Pulwama, you don't have Prime Minister, whoever it is. I'm apolitical. I've conducted all these kind of exercises. I know what it means. You don't take permission from the Prime Minister to move troops. These are administrative moves, which everybody takes. Should an incident like this happen? Well, it shouldn't have happened. But if it has happened, that's the reason why. A little bit of somewhere, something would have happened, and that is why. Now, to question these kind of things is absolutely irresponsible. Now, when all these things happen, you don't need enemy outside. You have enough number of people within the country raising kind of voices, which is very, very incorrect, because after all these strikes have taken place, like what he said, Jal Huda himself has said, well, these kind of things have been clear. I think once a thing has been stated very clearly by the
Okay.
Well, DGMO was come on, said what he had done, and this is what we have done. We've had the various corps commanders come and say how the surgical strikes were launched. All kinds of things have been said after that. I think it's not done. It would be
Let me
seen.
ask Professor Brahmachalani, look at the timing, look at the context in which these comments were made. Pakistan, we all know, is in the doldrums. There are massive electricity cuts even as we speak right now in that country. There are videos on the internet where people are fighting for wheat flour. And you had a desperate, almost impleading sort of statement from the Pakistan Prime Minister last week asking for talks with India on various issues, including Kashmir. At a time such as this, when you know that your policy of isolating Pakistan is working, Pakistan's in an economic mess of its own, this kind of discordant note, if you will, how may it be viewed both in Islamabad and perhaps more importantly in Beijing?
You're absolutely right, Zaka, to raise that point. That statement of Mr. Digvijaya Singh has been picked up by the Pakistani media, which is highlighting it. But the facts are so clear. Even before India issued its first statement on the Balakot airstrike, Pakistan acknowledged that Indian warplanes struck at Balakot. Can there be more credible evidence than the enemy nation itself acknowledging, even before India had acknowledged anything, that Indian warplanes struck at Balakot, which is right in the heartland of Pakistan? And within 30 hours of the Balakot airstrike, the Pakistani Air Force struck certain sites in Indian J&K. Threshold breaching airstrike, an airstrike that has signaled that India's failed policy of restraint is over, is the fact that in the last 35 months, since Balakot airstrike, there has not been a single Pakistani major terrorist strike in India.
Yeah.
In other words, Balakot sent a very powerful deterrent message to Pakistan that if Pakistan were to carry out any major terrorist strike in India, the fact that India had abandoned its failed policy of strategic restraint means that India will retaliate and retaliate in a forceful manner. That's the main reason why, for nearly 3 years now, we have enjoyed peace. There hasn't been a single major Pakistani terrorist strike on Indian soil.
Okay.
So instead of actually celebrating the fact that we sent a very powerful deterrent message to Pakistan, here is somebody, an important opposition figure, undermining our deterrent message.
Okay,
that's the tragedy.
Let me ask Nalin Mehta. I mean, leave alone the strategic part of it that, Professor Chalani has explained, General Kulkarni has explained. Purely, even from a political point of view, Nalin Mehta, for whatever it's worth, the Bharat Jodo seems to have given some kind of an image uplift for Rahul Gandhi, right? People have started taking him seriously. Now Bharat Jodo is entering its sort of fag end. It's the last week, I think next Monday or Tuesday, it ends in Srinagar. And to have Digvijaya Singh play on that same old trope of questioning the forces, questioning these surgical strikes, doesn't it undermine whatever Rahul Gandhi has been trying to do over these last 3 to 4 months?
So two very quick points, Zaka. On the surgical strikes, yes, there were tactical local actions that happened in previous regimes too. The big difference with the surgical strikes, firstly, strategically, was that the government made it public and put its political might behind it. This was not a secret action taken by local commanders tactically. This was coordinated across the LC, and the government made it public. And that was the same case with the Balakot airstrikes as well. There was a paradigm shift with this by making it public. I think that's a huge difference between previous governments and this one. From a military point of view, it was similar, but politically, it was a big statement. As far as the political point you're making, Zaka, I think you're right. I think the politics of this is a settled issue for a long time. I think the Congress has nothing to do by making a like this. Politically, it has a lot to lose by statements like this. It's a self-goal. I think that's also why the Congress has officially distanced itself from Digvijaya Singh's statements as well. It's completely unnecessary. But also, I think what Rahul Gandhi's statement came out today, in a sense, this is a lack of message discipline. It's it's like shooting yourself in the foot. It's completely unnecessary. The Congress is not going to gain any votes by doing this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and like you said, it's counterproductive. It is trying to actually poke holes or dent the attempt by Mr. Rahul Gandhi to change his image, and thereby, if there is point, you're asking yourself, it's the same old players who are making these statements, whether it's a Manishankar Iyer, a Digvijaya Singh. These are not, novices. These are not congressmen from, just 2 days ago or a week ago. They've been congressmen for the last 30, 40, 50 years of their lives. For them to come out and make such discordant notes, I don't know if you've seen that clip of a journalist trying to interview Digvijaya Singh, and Jairam Ramesh realizes, he's also walking with him in Bharat Jodo, he realizes the import of what's being said, and he tries to, push both of them away, separate both of them. I mean, this is basic political sense, isn't it? That you don't say stuff like this because A, you've done it in 2019, you went to the people, this was the biggest issue, and the people have voted overwhelmingly. And B, your leader is trying to reinvent himself and his party, and you go and basically shoot him in the foot.
Zaka, I actually respectfully disagree with most of your very eminent panelists today. I'm a believer that in a democracy, and I'm glad we're a democracy, even if it's pretty much a not particularly celebrated for being very transparent. Mr. Modi's government, by the way, did not even come clean on GDP figures or employment figures. It reduces the government's credibility. I would like to make one point here. On Pulwama, for example, there are many reports that have talked about several intelligence inputs that were ignored. And you had 40 soldiers of the CRPF who were brutally assassinated. We all know Jaish-e-Mohammed did it. But the question remains that these are matters which are discussed transparently in Parliament, and the government never does that. I think if anybody from the opposition questions the government, instead of being critical and trying to brand the opposition of being pesky and anti-national, let's for God's sake be a mature country and say people can defer. It's not that every conversation is a political slugfest. And by the way, the Congress party has been part of several wars that India has beaten Pakistan in. So what are we lecturing the party for? I think the larger point that we need to understand here is the muscular hyper-nationalism by which the BJP exploits the military successes for its electoral gains, which I think is
no.
Crude,
look, I think two points. I'll go to Sanju Verma on this. I think one of the points is a valid one to ask about. 40 CRPF Jawans died. Clearly, a great amount of ammunition was brought in there. Was, I don't know, 30 kilos of RDX or something. So yes, do we know fully today, almost 4 years since Pulwama happened, how this man, a lone man, was able to carry this amount of RDX? How did he breach what is easily the most guarded highway in the country? All of those questions, Sanju Verma, do they not deserve an answer? Don't the people of India not deserve to know an answer to those questions?
Zaka, I'm, not going to sit here and listen to the Congress today trying to digress from the issue. The issue is the fact that there have been repeatedly offensive and slanderous attacks on our armed forces, on our brave hearts with rabid impunity by senior Congress leaders. That's the topic of the debate. The topic of the debate is not inflation or employment or how good or bad the BJP is when it comes to upholding democratic ethos. Need I remind Sanjay Jha about the horrific days of 1975 emergency by Indira Gandhi? I will not get into that. That's a debate for another day. Let me be very clear. When the Congress says that, the BJP needs to put things in the public domain, I will remind him of the National Security Act signed off by ex-President Neelam Sanjeeva Reddy, and the architect of the National Security Act was none other than erstwhile Congress leader Indira Gandhi, who's no more. And even if you look at the RTI Act of 2005, both these acts clearly say that in the interest of national security and to uphold India's territorial integrity, So Sanjay Jha, do not sit here and give me a lecture. Go and educate yourself. Read the National Security Act. Read the RTI Act. And if you have a problem, why don't you petition the government of the day saying that it needs to amend the RTI Act rather than sitting here and doing this flip-flop about democracy khatre mein hai. I will just say this to you, Zaka. You know, give me 20 seconds. After the problems we had last month in the Tawang sector area, there is this tweet put out by the Defense Minister Rajnath Singh at 12:31 p.m. on 13th December 2022. I will not read out the entire tweet. It is available in public domain, but it clearly addresses the Honorable Speaker, and it says this is the statement by Raksha Mantri in the Lok Sabha on 13th December 2022, where he says, on 9th December, PLA troops tried to transgress the LSC in Yangtze area of Tawang sector and unilaterally change the status quo. The Chinese attempt was contested by our troops in a firm and resolute manner. I don't wish to get into the further details. It's a lengthy letter. I think the defense minister clearly said not an inch of land has been taken. You don't believe Rajnath Singh. You don't believe Narendra Modi. You don't believe Amit Shah. Who do you believe? You believe a discredited BBC documentary which you have been trying to peddle for the last 72 hours to try and gain some electoral brownie points.
Okay, let me go to the experts. Let me go to General Kulkarni first. You know, the whole point about asking for proof is, if you look at the statements, Imran Khan was Prime Minister of Pakistan at that time. His statements, his tweets from that time clearly show that action was taken by India. I mean, this is what Imran Khan said in the Pakistani parliament just 2 days after Balakot. He said they sent us the Pulwama dossier 2 days after. The Prime Minister of Pakistan, at that time the DGISPR, all of them are tweeting and saying on record that the strikes did happen. For the principal opposition party to ask for proof or say, you know, what was the fallout of the strikes, or did it actually happen, show us proof. I mean, again, does it not send out a discordant note, or does it, as professional as they are, leave out all this surround sound and just do their job? The surround sound is just part of democracy.
Of course, Zaka, it gives a very bad image. It sends a very bad signal that within the country, as large as India, democratic India, doing well. And what does China want? China doesn't want India to rise. What does it use Pakistan as a surrogate state to ensure that India is not allowed to rise? So these kind of statements which emanate, and obviously, imagine the statements emanating from their own people, saying that they were virtually shivering as to if we were not to do something and release the pilot, the things would go wrong. Where are these statements coming from? I don't see any of these statements coming from the Indian soil. All of them emanated from public and giving statements like these. Definitely the enemy will take full advantage of it, and it would give a very, very bad image that, look, there is entirely, like you rightly said, discordant note. People are not on the same page as concerns the national security is. Let's exploit it. And that's exactly what they're doing. Exploiting what is happening.
Professor Brahmachalani, I think one of the points that's irked maybe the Congress and maybe other opposition parties is also, like Sanjay said, and he's not incorrect, there have been strikes in the past as well, cross-LOC, cross-border strikes, but they were never publicized. No country used to sort of own up to it and say, okay, this is what we did. Now, there may have been a reason for that. It was okay in those times, in those days. But the Modi government, with the 2016 strikes and then the 2019 strikes, has gone ahead and claimed cross-LOC action. What the Congress and others are questioning is, what happened to that consensus? What happened when Atal Bihari Vajpayee was Prime Minister or Dr. Manmohan Singh was Prime Minister? You've, in a sense, crossed a Rubicon by publicizing this. Could you explain to the Congress and to our viewers why publicizing these strikes and, as you said, the disbanding this idea of strategic restraint actually better serves India's interests than what we've seen in the past?
First military attack by a nuclear-armed nation on the sovereign territory of another nuclear weapon state. So not only this was a first for India, this was a first in international relations.
Yeah.
So Balakot was a very eventful airstrike. And the fact is that for many, many years, the Pakistan military has been using its terrorist surrogates. It regards them as de facto special operations forces and has employed them over the years cost effectively as a force multiplier against India. And the Balakot attack, by targeting the enemy's non-uniformed soldiers, these terrorist proxies, sent a very powerful message that India's restraint no longer exists. But talking about proof, let's go by the Pakistani government statements.
Yeah.
On Pulwama, Mr. Digvijaya Singh wants proof on where the RDX came in from. In 2020, speaking in the National Assembly of Pakistan, the then Science and Technology Minister Fawad Chaudhry said, I quote, "Our success in Pulwama is a success of this nation under the leadership of Imran Khan." Can there be a more candid admission of Pakistan's involvement, of Pakistan actually being behind? India acknowledged the attack. So I think this politicization of the Balakot airstrike is very unfortunate. Deterrence works if the punitive response to aggression is prompt and effective. And India responded to the Pulwama terrorist attack in a way that sent a powerful deterrent message to the Pakistani generals.
All right.
The Pakistani generals now are uncertain about the extent or severity of an Indian military response
in case there were to be another terrorist attack. All right. Okay, so I'll give Nalin Mehta the final word. Just politically, tomorrow Rahul Gandhi is going to hold a press conference. On Monday, Bharat Jodo will conclude in Srinagar. Do you expect some amount of clawing back on what Digvijaya Singh has said? And just on the national security question, Mr. Gandhi, for example, has been going on and on the question of China, these repeated transgressions that we're seeing both in the northern sector as well as in the eastern sector. Do you see a sort of recalibration by the Congress and sort of pivoting onto the China question and the extent of transgressions there? Or do you see Mr. Gandhi doubling down on what Digvijaya Singh said? Because it's not very much different from what he himself said a few years ago, saying Khoon ki dalali.
So on this, Zaka, see, the Congress has distanced itself officially today from Digvijaya Singh's comments, but I don't see the Congress. By the way, I agree with Sanjay that the opposition must question. I think there's a debate that must happen. That's fine, including on issues around China and so on. But somehow the way the discourse has carried so far, it is. My personal view is that I don't see Rahul Gandhi backtracking. I think he'll double down. I think the Congress will double down on this. But so far, this kind of a discourse, the BJP has dominated the discourse on national security. You can agree or disagree with its viewpoints, but I think the Congress has found it very, very difficult to dislodge the BJP on that. But I don't see Rahul Gandhi backing off from it. I see him doubling down.
All right, we'll see how this plays out. Tomorrow will be his press conference, but clearly, like I said, this issue was put to test in the court of public opinion. This was the biggest take a quick break. When we come back, right on the other side, we're going to shift focus because today is Parakram Divas. It's the 126th birth anniversary of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. There is an all-out fight for his legacy between the BJP and the Trinamool Congress. That's right, on the other side of this quick break. The Minister said that the WFI chief, Brij Bhushan, will step aside until an inquiry is completed against him. He also added that a 4-member committee will be formed which will investigate the allegations levelled by the wrestlers.
ओवरसाइट कमेटी का गठन किया जाएगा। अगले 4 हफ्तों के अंदर अपनी जांच को पूरा करेंगे और जो निर्णय बाकी करने की आवश्यकता होगी वो भी करने का काम करेंगे। जब तक ये जांच पूरी नहीं हो जाती और तब तक भारतीय कुश्ती संघ के अध्यक्ष श्री ब्रिज भूषण जी वो अपने आप को स्टेप असाइड करेंगे, दैनिक कार्यकलाप से अलग रखेंगे।
Meanwhile, the protesting wrestlers have claimed that the government has assured them of action and they trust the government while of the protest. Never to take the protest.
इसमें निष्पक्ष जांच होगी और जो खिलाड़ियों की सुरक्षा की बात है, चाहे वो किसी तरह की बात है कि वो मंत्री जी ने बोला कि वो हमारी जिम्मेवारी है। हमारा खेल काफ़ी ऊपर गया है। हम भी नहीं चाहते थे कि ये प्रोटेस्ट करें, पर हमारी भी मजबूरी थी कि भाई इतना पानी सर से ऊपर चला गया था कि हम अभी खिलाड़ी प्रोटेस्ट को बंद कर रहे हैं क्योंकि हमें सरकार ने आश्वासन दिया कि आपके साथ न्याय होगा।
BJP President JP Nadda addressed a public rally in pole-bound Karnataka today. He hit out at Congress leader Rahul Gandhi over the Bharat Jodo Yatra. Nadda
प्रधानमंत्री जब कर्नाटक में आते हैं तो कर्नाटक में वो कर्नाटक की परंपराओं की हमेशा याद करके कर्नाटक के गौरव की बात करते हैं। ये हमारे प्रधानमंत्री करते हैं। लेकिन दूसरी तरफ राहुल गांधी भारत जोड़ो यात्रा में उन लोगों को लेके चलते हैं, आपके कर्नाटक में भी आए थे, जिन लोगों ने भारत को तोड़ने में अपना योगदान किया है, वही राहुल गांधी के दाएं बाएं दिखते हैं।
More than 300 eminent citizens have penned a strongly worded letter against the BBC documentary on the 2002 Gujarat riots. Several retired judges, armed forces veterans, former diplomats are all part of
has a trouble dealing with because it appears to have a colonial mindset with regard to India. And from time to time this surfaces, and this particular documentary of 2 parts was a visible example of the fact that although it's a public broadcasting service, it does these programs which are highly discriminatory, interference in our internal affairs, and which are funded by private partners, not the British government.
They're trying to talk about Prime Minister Modi in a negative context, linking it to the incidents that took place in Gujarat in 2002. But there is no factual reporting in the BBC documentary at all. They keep talking about allegedly this and reportedly that. And above all, they have ignored completely the decisions of the Indian judiciary. BBC has completely destroyed its credibility by bringing about such a documentary.
Meanwhile, the centre has ordered YouTube to block some of the videos of the BBC documentary on the Gujarat 2002 riots. Twitter was also asked to take down about 50-odd tweets which contain the YouTube links to the documentary. Sources say that both YouTube and Twitter have complied with the order from the government. After Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra, the Congress party has released the logo of Haath Se Haath Jodo Abhiyan and a charge sheet against the Modi government's failures. The Congress's Haath Se Haath Jodo Abhiyan is a house-to-house campaign which will begin from the 26th of January, Republic Day.
Haath Se Haath Jodo Abhiyan is basically a house-to-house campaign. With this Rahul Gandhi's message of Bharat Jodo Yatra and the charge sheet against the Modi government, and adding to that, in respective state unit, they will make a one-sheet pamphlet against the respective state government wherever it is necessary.
A G20 walkathon was organized in Varanasi in collaboration with the district administration as well as the municipal corporation there. The walkathon was organized to spread awareness regarding the G20 meeting, which is coming up in September. It was flagged off by the public representatives of the city. Also, the G20 summit logo was unveiled in Varanasi on the theme of Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma has revealed that the centre has sent a proposal to UNESCO nominating Charaideo Maidam as a World Heritage Site. During a press conference in Janta Bhavan in Tizpur, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma also said that the historic tourist destination was chosen out of 52 sites. Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister Sukhwinder Singh Sukhu has said that the state intends to become India's first green energy state by 2025. Sukhu, who held a meeting with the state's energy department, added that the state would harness hydrogen and solar energy and switch to green products. The government will also install 500 megawatts of solar projects by 2024. Over 20 Gujarat corporate entities have promised to invest 40,000 crores in the UP Global Investors. Welcome back. On the occasion of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's 126th birth anniversary, Prime Minister Modi today unveiled a model of a proposed memorial dedicated to the appropriating Netaji and his legacy.
नेताजी का स्मारक शहीदों और वीर जवानों के नाम पर ये द्वीप हमारे युवाओं के लिए, आने वाली पीढ़ियों के लिए एक चिरंतर प्रेरणा का स्थल बनेंगे.
Naming islands for freedom fighters, I'm certainly very happy about that.
Netaji Subhash Chandra
Manojit Mandal, TMC spokesperson. Ardindu Bose is nephew of Netaji Subhash Bose. Shubham Ganguly is a political analyst who's joining us. Let me start with you, Professor Manojit Mandal. The BJP government and Mr. Modi's government, they say no government before them has done as much for Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and enshrining his legacy and his history, starting with the decision to celebrate January 23rd as Parakram Divas, the statue of Netaji that has replaced the statue of King George at India Gate here in Delhi. You also have the Prime Minister himself come down in 2021 and dedicate to the nation the Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Museum, which was in Elgin Road, which has now been renamed the Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Road.
Celebrate the person called Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, just erecting a statue, renaming the land. By the way, this island was named by Netaji himself as Swaraj and Shahid lands long time back, we know. And what about declaring 23rd January as holiday, which we have been demanding? Let me tell you what BJP is trying to do, not even appropriating. They are trying to misappropriate the legacy of a person who believed in an undivided unit, a secular, democratic, and socialist Republic of India.
I mean, can you make the connection? I'm not able to make the connection.
I'll tell you. That's what I'm giving. That's what I'm saying. You are not understanding. Netaji believed in a secular India where even all classes of people, irrespective of the religion, will have their say, right? That's what the belief of Swami Vivekananda as well. Please go through the Chicago speech where he said that I'm proud to belong to a nation that shelter people of persecuted people of all creeds and all religion coming from other countries. Now, these people, when they enact the law CAA, completely undermines the legacy of both Vivekananda and Netaji. By the way,
I don't know. I think it's a stretch point, but nonetheless, it's your right to make that point. But let me ask Sanju Verma. Sanju Verma, what the TMC and other opposition parties are saying is that it's not like only the Modi government has done stuff to remember Netaji. The museum that we talked about has been functioning since the CPM government in the late 1990s. The decision to rename the airport as the Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Airport was taken in the late 90s, early 2000s. So, to say that only the Modi government and the BJP government have done work to enshrine Netaji's legacy, according to TMC and CPM and others, is far from the truth.
Zaka, I think the TMC spokesperson is clearly out of syllabus. The discussion today is not on CAA, and CAA is not an exclusionist. Zaka, that a long pending demand to declassify Netaji's files was given the go-ahead by no less than Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and in the first phase itself, 304 classified files were declassified. There are, of course, more to go, but that will happen subsequently in various phases. Point number 2, let's be very clear that for the first time on the Republic Day parade, on the 26th of January 2019, I want Professor Mandal to listen to this. There are 4 INA veterans. Forget about acknowledging their achievements. No government in India in so many decades had even paid them scant respect. Now I will come to the moot point, because he gave a long bhashan on what the BJP is all about appropriating, misappropriating legacy. Do you remember 23rd January 2021? Prime Minister Narendra Modi was in Kolkata, and that was the day we decided that not only will we celebrate 23rd January as Parakram Divas, but we will celebrate it with a lot of fanfare. There was a section in the crowd when Mamata Banerjee started speaking, they started chanting Jai Shri Ram.
Yes.
And the lady walked away from the dais in a huff. You are celebrating Netaji Bose's Karyakram, and as a chief minister, you don't have respect for Narendra Modi. You don't even have respect for Netaji Bose, whose legacy you want to peddle before every election.
Okay.
So you are the hypocrite. Not
Okay. I'm going to pull back from the political spokesperson. Manojit, I'll come back and give you adequate time to respond. But there are two other guests. Kindly, with your permission, there are two other guests. I want to go to Mr. Ardindu Bose. I think the most important decision, and you can disagree with me, sir, is what the Modi government did in 2016. The declassification of files related to Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. In 2015-16, this decision was first taken. The Prime Minister's office released the first set of 100 files. Subsequently, the Ministry of Home Affairs has released about 30,000 files. The Bengal government has also released a number of files. But do you believe that this long-standing, long-pending demand from not just family members but also fans and followers of Netaji, this is the one action that has the most legitimacy, if you will, of claiming Netaji's legacy? Yes, museum, yes, institute, file, a long pending demand, which many governments in the past, for whatever reason, they did not.
Zaka, let me tell you that the process started much before 2016, and I'm witness to it in the sense that I live in Mumbai, not in Kolkata. And when Narendra Modi ji was the chief minister of Gujarat, living in Ahmedabad, his office got in touch with me in Mumbai and asked me to come and see him because he wanted to meet me. So my wife and I went out. It was before he became, just before when the campaigning was on. We went and we met him and we talked about, first of all, I've seen him on YouTube on many occasions before that when he is making speeches on Netaji, and I was very impressed because we have a connection with Gujarat. And we sat at that time, it was in 2014, early 2014, and he discussed with us a couple of hours, and he met me subsequently after that, and he discussed Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. And I remember the last time I met him then, he got up and he said, look, I'm going on my campaign. So I said, best of luck to you. And he started his campaign in Bengal, because when he was here, he was on the Maidan. My cousin phoned me and said, look, have you met Narendra Modi? So I said, yes, I met him a couple of weeks ago. And he said, they was on the Maidan talking about Netaji and my father being in Ahmedabad, etc., etc. So his knowledge of Netaji has been for many years. And as far as the actions being called and kings and Havelock or whatever it is, went back, right through the time of the Congress party, it remained Andamans and Havelock and whatever the other one was, right? Narendra Modi went back and renamed it. Yeah, Neil, that's it. And he went back and he had them named again based on what Netaji wanted. Hats off to him. So I'm sorry, Professor Mondal, he's got his facts wrong.
Okay, Professor Mondal, I'll come to you in just one second. Shubham Ganguly has also been very patiently waiting. I think the one sort of unfinished agenda, as it were, was about the circumstances leading up to his death. And I know this is a back and forth that's been going on for the last 70 plus years. But in 2017, the Modi government set up a new committee headed by retired Justice Manoj Mukherjee to look into the findings of the circumstances leading up to Netaji's death. We don't know the result that they came to. And then in 2019, there was the DNA test that was ordered, again, on the remains that were kept in a Japanese temple. The results of that test were officially revealed.
today. But Anita Bose, a few days ago, some 2-3 days ago, in an interview, clearly said that the BJP and the RSS are using Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose as a political tool, and that his ideology is poles apart from that of the BJP and the RSS. I would like to quote on his birth anniversary some lines from Subsukh Chan. The debate was going on regarding the CAA topic. In Subsukh Chan, the INA's anthem, it says, हर सुबह के रहने वाले, हर मजहब के प्राणी, सब भेद और फर्क मिटा के, सब गोद में तेरी आंखें, गूंधे प्रेम की माला. Does the BJP and the RSS believe in this? Sanju Verma, madam, was saying that it's not a debate on the CAA. It's an inclusion. It's a thing to create inclusion in the Indian society, but keeping out Muslims from that bill, from that act. Is it inclusionary or exclusionary?
Does no, first of all, once again, I'm sorry I'm interrupting, but first of all, I'm still not able to understand the connection between Subhash Chandra Bose's legacy and the CAA argument. Number two, there's a factual correction there. I don't think the CAA ever envisaged keeping all Muslims out. It just kept people. What it has done is allowed minorities. Anyway, I think we're digressing. I think I want to come back to the issue of Netaji and his legacy and this political war between TMC and BJP on who better represents Netaji's legacy. Okay? No, so Professor Mondal, in all fairness, you can respond now. Yes.
No. First of all, you lecture on Netaji extempore. Fine, Mr. Modi is a terrific orator. But look what you have done to his legacy. Planning Commission. Planning Commission was conceived of by none other than Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. They have abolished it to destroy the fabric of the planning, economic planning. Come back to this 2021, 23rd January, Victoria Memorial অনুষ্ঠান. First of all, this is happening in front of the Victoria, that itself was a travesty. Victoria Memorial Hall still, I think, symbol of servitude of India. Point number one. And chanting Jai Shri Ram in a program that is dedicated to Netaji, again rubbish. It should have been Jai Hind. I tell you, not what it is. You have uninterrupted time. Not forget about Anita Bose. Even their member Chandra Kumar Bose today said that RSS, please. This is what Netaji would not have done.
You don't expect the Chief Minister and a veteran like Mamta Didi to, create a huff and walk off from the stage because somebody raised a slogan.
Mr. Jaka Jacob, I challenge you. Show me 2 instances of Government of India program where Jai Shri Ram slogan is chanted. Show me 2 instances, 2 other instances. I gave you 7 days time. Please
you're missing the point. You're missing the point.
No,
the issue is not with the chanting of the slogan. The issue is how does one respond to it? Again, I feel like we're digressing. So
let me come back to the point at hand. It's not about excluding a particular community. It's about following Netaji's idea of India.
Okay.
Which this party does not follow.
Okay, Sanju Verma, final word. Your idea of India, your party does not believe in Netaji's idea of India. So no matter how many museums you open, no matter how many files you declassify, you will be
she's clearly said that, Netaji's ideology and the BJP RSS ideology are poles apart. He very conveniently suffers from selective amnesia. Last year in September 2022, when Netaji's 28 feet tall statue was inaugurated by Prime Minister Modi at India Gate, which has never been done after more than 70 years of post-independent India, in a telephonic call, and this is the News18 report, in a telephonic call from Germany, what did Anita Bose say? She said, I'm very happy about the prompt decision by Narendra Modi. This should have happened decades back, but better late than never. I'm also very thankful to the Modi government for declassifying Netaji's files. This is Anita Bose's statement in the public domain. So when Netaji's kith and kin are applauding the Modi government, do we need a certificate from TMC? Do we need repeat, the people who talk against CAA, they will never talk about how in Balochistan Hindus are being butchered, raped and mutilated. Himmat hai to talk about the Hindus in Balochistan, then talk about CAA.
I think it's only fitting that I give Mr. Ardindu Bose the final word. Mr. Bose, political contestations will go on the legacy of Netaji Bose. Who represents him better, or who represents him more adequately. That's fine. That's par for course. What I want to know from you, as a kith and kin of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, is what is the unfinished agenda? What next needs to be done to make sure that there is some closure to his.
Okay. Professor Mandal is demanding, and the TMC is demanding, that a holiday should be announced on the 23rd of January. I am against it. I mentioned, and I'm sure Netaji would be against it, because if one day off, one day chutti, means thousands of crores lost in this country. I'm sure Subhash Chandra Bose would never have agreed. Point A.
Okay.
And about Anita, she's my cousin, and we've had lots of chats about that. And unfortunately, I do feel that is now accepting the ideology, adapting the ideology of Netaji. She says, I have no objection.
No problems. All right. I'm completely out of time. Thank you very much to all our guests. Let's see how this legacy war, as it were, continue between the BJP and TMC over Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. As we wrap up, we leave you with the first glimpses of the newlyweds, cricketer KL Rahul and Atiya Shetty. The couple posed for the media just hours after tying the knot in a private ceremony. This was in Khandala. The guests were restricted to very close family and friends. Cricketers Ishant Sharma and Varun Aaron were those who attended the wedding. Atiya's father Sunil Shetty announced that a reception is likely to be held.
Hello everyone, you're watching News Epicenter with me, Maria Shakil. The boycott Bollywood trend has been plaguing the film industry. From Padmavat to Lal Singh Chadda to now Pathan. Several movies were the victim of this online campaign for either hurting religious sentiments or because of statements made by the actors in the past. Protests broke out throughout the country after Pathan's song Besharam Rang was released. The protest went on to the extent that Shah Rukh Khan had to take assurance from Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma over protests that happened against the movie in Guwahati. Where will that come from? A valid question to ask. Last month, Shah Rukh Khan spoke about narrowness of views on social media. Amitabh Bachchan also spoke about freedom of expression and artistic liberties. In 2022, no production could break even except for the Kashmir Files, Bhul Bhulaiya 2 and Brahmastra to some extent. This is certainly a worrying trend and a worrying statistic for the film industry. Remember, only recently, Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the National Executive of the BJP warned the BJP cadre and asked them to refrain from making unnecessary remarks on films as this puts party's development agenda on the back burner. So will this boycott culture end now? Will the boycott
Social media is often driven by a certain narrowness of view that limits human nature to its baser self. Such pursuits enclose the collective narrative, making it divisive and destructive.
Questions are being raised on civil liberties and freedom of expression. Let us craft a singularity out of the many truths that come our way.
ये जो perception हमारा चल रहा है कि हैशटैग बॉयकॉट बॉलीवुड, वो हम सबको मिलके उसे कैसे हटाया जा सकता है? अगर आप लीड लेंगे तो ये डेफिनेटली हो सकता है.
आएगी तब देखेंगे. अभी देखिए, ये तो हिंदू समाज तय करेगा जो हिंदुद्रोही मानसिकता के साथ बनी हुई फिल्म जो है, और जिस तरह से लगातार देश भर में उसके प्रति बवाल है, और उसके बावजूद भी क्या ये फिल्म चल पाएगी, ये देखने वाली बात है. बात यह है कि जो जिस तरह से हिंदू समाज को रेडिकुलाइज करने की कोशिश की जाती है, आप जिस तरह से जो है ना हिंदू मानवाधिकारों पर कुठाराघात किया जाता है, और फिल्म इंडस्ट्री का कोई भी व्यक्ति, और मतलब फिल्म इंडस्ट्री में कहूँ तो जो फिल्म से जुड़ा हुआ कोई व्यक्ति, उस पर कोई हिंदू समाज से अपोलॉजी तक नहीं मांगता. कैसे केस में क्या?
लेकिन विनोद बंसल जी, जो आपके ऑब्जेक्शंस थे रंग पर और कुछ सीन्स पर, वो सब तो थोड़ा सा एडिट हुआ ही है. सेंसरशिप ने, सेंसर बोर्ड ने वो सब तो करेक्ट किया है. मेरा सवाल आपसे ये है, आपने अपने प्रोटेस्ट करना था, रजिस्टर करना था कि आप लोग को ऑब्जेक्शंस है, वो शायद ऑब्जेक्शंस अब दिख गए हैं. सो क्या अब ये पठान फिल्म तारीख
ने कम से कम उस पर कुछ कैंची चलाई है, लेकिन वो कैंची कितनी चली, क्या चली, और अंततोगत्वा फिल्म में क्या रह गया, इसके बारे में तो किसी फिल्म निर्माता, निर्देशक, एक्टर, कलाकार किसी ने कुछ नहीं बोला ना.
नहीं तो क्या आप लोग सुपर सेंसर बन जाएंगे? आपको ऑब्जेक्शन था, वो सब शायद कट हो गया सीन्स, अब आप सुपर सेंसर तो नहीं बनेंगे ना सर?
नहीं, आप क्या सर्टिफाई कर रही हैं कि वो जो कुछ सीन जो ऑब्जेक्शनेबल थे वो सारे कट हो गए?
बन सकते हैं?
आप सर्टिफाई कर रहे हैं क्या?
नहीं, मेरा कहना एक फिल्म है, वो लोगों को देखने दीजिए, वो तय करेंगे कि सही है या नहीं है.
तो कौन मना कर रहा है इसके लिए? मैंने मना किया क्या?
नहीं, आपने कहा कि आप भी फिल्म देखेंगे, ये अच्छी बात है. विनोद बंसल जी ने ये बोला कि शायद वो भी जाएंगे फिल्म देखने, तो आकाशदीप watching
जी, आप दूसरे क्या सुनेंगे?
Okay, one moment, Akashdeep, let me ask him that question again. Will you be watching the film? Will you be watching the film?
After what he said, he needs to be
heard
heard again.
मिलकर के आप अगर विष्णु
after what he started off by saying, I think he needs to be heard again.
नहीं, चलिए मुझे यही बताइए विनोद बंसल जी, मेरा सवाल आपसे ये है, क्या आप फिल्म देखेंगे?
ना मैं देखूंगा ना देखने के लिए लोगों को कहूंगा, क्योंकि अभी तक फिल्म निर्माता निर्देशक ने न ही माफी मांगी है हिंदू समाज से और न ही उन्होंने ये कहा है कि हमने क्या ऑब्जेक्शनल था और क्या करेक्शन कर दिया और अब क्या करेक्शन रह गया।
Akashdeep, what about you? So Vinod Bansal has said it clearly that he will neither watch it, neither will he be telling others to watch the film. I can see Mukesh Khanna also joining us. Akashdeep, please make your point. Will you be watching Pathaan?
Maria, I would...
Because, the point being made by Kareena Kapoor Khan is very valid. She says, what about entertainment? If this...
to be ridiculed in this film?
Why not? Why not?
Who told you it is?
You've
seen the film? Have you seen the film?
Why the Hindu?
Have you seen the film?
Protesting entire country. आप मुझे बताइए नहीं आप
What Hindu Samaj has been ridiculed in this film? Vinod Bansal ji, आप बड़ी-बड़ी बातें करके you're sounding full of sound and fury but signifying nothing. Which Hindu Samaj has been insulted in this film? आप अपने पॉइंट को पकड़ के रखिए। कौन से हिंदू समाज का इंसल्ट हुआ इस फिल्म में?
घूम रहे हैं अभी।
कौन से हिंदू समाज की इंसल्ट हुई है इस फिल्म में?
Come down to the
I condemn the opening remarks of Mr. Vinod Bansal. Maria, this we can't talk.
अगर आपने पैगंबर के बारे में ऐसा कुछ बोल
दिया Vinod Bansal ji, you should listen to other views also. Akashdeep, films have been mired in controversy. There has been a lot of questions around this. Lal Singh Chadda, Amir Khan was accused of insulting the Indian army. Adi Purush, the objections were on portrayal of Ram and Hanuman and Ravan and Lakshman. Yes, there were a lot of questions. And we heard from the filmmaker and others, all of them have clarified that there has been nothing objectionable. I was the one who interviewed the filmmaker and the writer of Adi Purush. My question is this now, that will this trend continue?
My point to you, Maria, is...
You have to listen to others. Okay, go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
No, put his mic down.
Okay, Akashdeep, go ahead. Akashdeep and Mukesh Khanna now.
Yeah. My point to you is... Maria, if you don't put his fader down, it won't work.
नहीं, one moment. Vinod Bansal जी, आपने अपना point रख दिया.
जाइए.
नहीं, बाकी की भी बात सुनिए.
जाइए, जा रहे हैं, चिंता मत करो.
चलिए.
आपकी फिल्म भी जा रही है पाकिस्तान.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Maria, his very opening remarks were so derogatory that I don't know कितनी कैंची चली है, क्या चली है. अभी हम इनके भरोसे बैठे रहेंगे to see a film. मैं इनको गिना दूं अभी अगली 50 फिल्में कौन सी हैं, एक बैठ के देखो और ये डिसाइड करेंगे कि हमें क्या देखना है क्या नहीं. हमने कब से इनको अपना आदर्श मान लिया. मुझे एंटरटेनमेन देखने के लिए मुझे इस आदमी की कैंची क्यों चाहिए? एक सेंसर बोर्ड है ना, वो डिसाइड करेगी. आप सेंसर बोर्ड के ऊपर कहां से आ गए? आपको अच्छी नहीं लगती, आप जरूर मत देखिए. अरे चुप रहिए.
No.
When are we going to get a chance?
No,
to talk?
Akashdeep, you'll get a chance because Mukesh
He
Khanna
has not even understood Mr. Modi. See, there he goes again. Mr. Modi also said, stop making a mockery out of Bollywood films. He's mentioned it categorically. ये लोग तब भी नहीं सुनते हैं. What has gone wrong with these people?
Yes.
If they don't like to see a particular film, I'm sure they should not see it. Tell your 4 friends don't see it. But don't stop me. I am not living in this man's la-la land. I have a vision of my own. I have a thought of my own. And there are billions like me. We do not want to be tutored by him on what we should see and what we should not.
Mukesh
And I
Khanna,
hate the fact that
do you think
he
this
doesn't know
Bollywood
kitni kaisi
culture
chali
trend
hai.
is going too far, and particularly after what we have seen, the intervention that has come from the Prime Minister, in which he has communicated to the party cadres that, you know, the government's
Even
agenda
after that,
is more
they are not keeping
progressive,
quiet.
that people like objections or burning of posters is taking that, you know, trend of cancel culture.
सर जी का ओपनिंग रिमार्क पसंद नहीं आया, उसके ऊपर बहस छिड़ी। आपने अपनी एक बात कही जिससे मैं आपसे सवाल पूछना चाहता हूं। आपने ये कहा कि कौन से हिंदू सेंटिमेंट्स को इस फिल्म ने टच किया है, कौन से हिंदू फिल्म्स के इसके आवाज हुआ है। आपने देखी है फिल्म? विदाउट सीइंग अ फिल्म, हाउ यू आर कमेंटिंग? नोबडी हैज सीन द फिल्म. We should not go for this kind of judgment.
What are you saying? Sir, the man with the objection should be told. Mukesh ji.
बोलिए.
Mukesh ji, the man with the objection should be told, ask this, not me. He has not seen it and he is objecting to it. I am not
Then
objecting.
You have also not seen. You have also
जिसने
not
देखी
seen.
नहीं है.
देखी है. मुझे अपनी बात पूरी करने दीजिए। आप कहते हो कि कौन से सेंटिमेंट, कौन से हिंदू क्या टच किया है, आप नहीं बोल सकते क्योंकि आपने फिल्म ही देखी। परंतु अगर उन्होंने टच किया
तो मैं इनसे सवाल कर रहा हूं।
सुनिए, अभी देखिए, आप बीच में मत बोलिए ना, फिर आप बीच में क्यों बोलते हैं? आप चाय पीजिए बैठ के अपनी। मैं बोलता हूं कि आप कहते हो कि कौन से सेंटिमेंट्स को आपको नहीं मालूम। आप भी स्पेक्यूलेट कर रहे हो, बंसल जी भी स्पेक्यूलेट कर रहे हैं, पर बंसल जी की एक बात सही है कि अगर इस फिल्म में देखिए अभी यू आर नॉट कंप्लीटिंग, लेटिंग मी कंप्लीट। आई डोंट लाइक दिस काइंड ऑफ डिस्कशंस वेर यू डोंट लेट द पर्सन स्पीक।
सर, वन सेंटेंस
नहीं मत बोलिए
सर, वन सेंटेंस कि मैं मैनिपुलेटेड नहीं हूं, मैं ओपन माइंड से देखने जा रहा हूं।
अरे बाबा, मैंने अभी अपनी बात पूरी नहीं की है।
मैं ओपन माइंड से
मैं कहता हूं कि अगर,
बोलिए सर,
जैसे ये कह रहे हैं कि अगर हिंदू
मुकेश खन्ना जी, मेरा सवाल आपसे ये है, मुकेश खन्ना जी, मेरा सवाल आपसे ये है, मेरा सवाल आपसे ये है कि 30 सेकंड का ट्रेलर रिलीज हुआ है अभी
जी,
उसमें क्या ऑब्जेक्शन हो सकता है कि बिना फिल्म देखे हुए बॉयकॉट हो जाए?
एग्जैक्टली
मारिया जी,
मुकेश खन्ना जी को जवाब देने दीजिए।
हाँ, मैं ये कहता हूं कि मुझे उस 30 सेकंड के प्रमोशन में डेलिबरेट प्रमोशन लग रहा है। 25 करोड़ लोग देख चुके हैं उसको ऑलरेडी, और आप अपने देश के बच्चों को, यूथ को आप ऐसा गंदा अश्लील गाना दिखा रहे हो, मुझे उस पर ऑब्जेक्शन है। फिल्म मैंने नहीं देखी। आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अगेंस्ट अ फिल्म, आई एम टॉकिंग अगेंस्ट दिस प्रमोशन ऑफ 30 सेकेंड्स। आप बोलते इसमें कुछ नहीं है, माफ करना, बहुत कुछ है। जोगिया कलर का मजाक उड़ाया है। देखो देखो देखो, जोगिया कलर की बिकिनी, आप उसको पूरा कैमरा के अंदर जूम कर रहे हो, उसको ऊपर करके आप जूम करते हो।
नहीं, उसका जो नहीं, उसका जो 3 मिनट 4 मिनट का जो आप बेशर्म की बात कर रहे हैं, नहीं
नॉट अदर
बट
ड्रेसेस।
किसने कह दिया कि गेरुआ आपका कलर हो गया है?
अरे
गेरुआ आपका पर्सनल कलर कब से हो गया?
गेरुआ हमारा कलर है।
गेरुआ आपका कलर भी है। गेरुआ इज अ कलर फॉर एवरीवन।
नो, इट इज कलर
सर, रंग दे तू मोहे गेरुआ,
देश का झंडा
वाह वाह किया ना। रंग दे तू मोहे गेरुआ,
बट
रंग दे तू मोहे गेरुआ ने तो अवार्ड्स भी जीते गाने ने।
तो करिए,
सडनली हरा उनका और गेरुआ आपका, ये क्या नैरेटिव है? नहीं,
देश का झंडा हमारा है। वैसे ही सनातन धर्म का जो भी
5,000 करोड़ घर है, जाइए एक एक घर में देखिए गेरुआ कलर के पेंट तो नहीं हुआ।
उनका हो गया
क्यों
मतलब
दीवारों
रजिस्टर
पे
नहीं होता
गेरुआ
ये।
क्यों आना चाहिए अगर आपका कलर है?
ये
हर
सेंटीमेंट
घर की छानबीन होनी चाहिए।
आपको सेंटीमेंट,
ये
अगर
कहां
आपको
जा रहे हैं
एंटरटेनमेंट चाहिए,
हम?
अगर आपको एंटरटेनमेंट चाहिए विदाउट एनी सेंटीमेंट्स,
हम
देन
इशू
गो
बना
अहेड।
रहे हैं।
आप कुछ भी देखिए,
You
नंगे
realize
नाच
where the
देखिए,
issue is being
pornography
made?
देखिए।
Mukesh Khanna ji, Mukesh Khanna ji, my question is, you are also part of Bollywood. You are also part of Bollywood. You have also realized that in recent times, all you know, RRR, number of them.
Because they are not anti-Hindu.
Yes, but Mukesh Khanna, you know, my question is that if this culture of boycott or cancel culture, is that not going too far, sir?
It is going too far, but Bollywood industry is not understanding. That is why it is going too far. आप चुपचाप हिंदू देवी देवताओं के खिलाफ मत बनाइए। हजार और अभिव्यक्ति की आजादी है आकाश जी, आप बना सकते हैं without insulting a Hindu god. Can't you make a film without insulting Hindu gods?
अगर कोई
आप बोलते हैं हम टू फार गए, आप टू फार नहीं गए हो। आप हाँ जी बोलिए।
अगर कोई आदमी इस प्लेनेट पे गेरुआ रंग यूज करना चाहता है, आपका ठेका उस पे नहीं है। प्लेनेट की बात कर रहा हूं, नॉट जस्ट इंडिया। पूरे प्लेनेट में जो चाहे गेरुआ रंग अपना यूज करे।
मैं बोलूं
अगर यूज होता है फैंटास्टिक, फुल रिस्पेक्ट, लेकिन
किसी ने विरोध किया?
आप अपनी बात को कॉन्ट्रडिक्ट कर रहे हो। आप अपनी बात को कॉन्ट्रडिक्ट कर रहे हो। जोगिया की तारीफ है या जोगिया का इंसल्ट है?
गेरुआ
जोगिया की तारीफ है।
मुझे
गाने में जोगिया की तारीफ है, अच्छी बात है।
पड़ेगी।
बट प्लेनेट में किसी को इजाजत नहीं है
सर, यू विल
किसी के झंडे का। आप क्या देश के झंडे?
विनोद बंसल,
नो, इट इज माय सेंटीमेंट आल्सो।
अगर मैं मेरे कॉन्टेक्स्ट में गेरुआ यूज कर रहा हूं,
no, so then in that case, but Mukesh Khanna, there is no insult.